Are EV charging stations being powered by diesel generators? Let's find out. One of our FUD fighters out there sent me this post that they found on Facebook recently stating that the Harris Ranch Tesla Supercharger station is the largest station in the world and it's all powered by diesel. Now, I doubt the poster actually wanted us to track down where this article came from, but we did. This comes to us from the Cowboy State Daily, which is a Wyoming-based news organization. It primarily focuses on local news, which makes you wonder why it bothered with a story about a charging station in California, but here we are. And according to Ground News, this Cowboy State Daily leans to the right and has an unknown factuality rating, so it's not exactly an unbiased source. The first thing that the article got wrong is it states that this charger is the largest charging station in the world. Americans, we tend to think of America as the whole world, so I can forgive them on that because I'm definitely guilty of that. But if you look around, you can see that we have a station like this one in Shenzhen, China, which has 637 stalls, quite a bit more. And then you have another one here in Merklingen, Germany. Sorry for the pronunciation. This one right here has 259 stalls. And then you actually have on the same site listing these, the California Harris Ranch one, the one we're talking about, which has 98 charging stalls. So it is quite a bit smaller than some of the other ones out there. So it's definitely wrong on this being the world's largest, not even close. Now, the article itself doesn't go as far as the post did in saying that these are all powered by diesel, which is good since when you look at Google Maps of this station, you can clearly see that there are a ton of solar panels that are used to power the station right there where the chargers themselves are. And now these were around before the article was even published. So it does create sort of a conflict with the article's claim that the station isn't connected to any dedicated solar farms. Maybe they meant that it doesn't need to be connected to a solar farm since it already has one on site. I don't know. Now, a 2022 article in Slate by Edward Niedermeyer, apologies if I mispronounce that, may have been the source of the confusion because even Niedermeyer here, who is very much not a fan of Elon Musk, doesn't go that far to say that this thing was entirely powered by diesel generators. He does mention that Tesla was running diesel generators to power additional superchargers on a stop that he had been at this station before back in 2015. So quite a while ago. And in fact, he posted a video to his YouTube channel of that exact phenomenon happening where they have his diesel generator. And at this time, it looks like maybe 2 or 3 superchargers, not nearly what you're seeing there today and what is being reported on this Facebook post. And this was also confirmed by a Harris Ranch spokesperson who said that the diesel generator was used as a mobile charger during a 2015 retrofit of the site, which is the video we just saw from Niedermeyer himself. And there's really been no solid evidence that this has been used since. So they're 0 for 2 on the claims that they made in that post. I think we can agree that this is disinformation. And by that I mean information that is false or inaccurate, deliberately intended to deceive you. Now, in addition to this first post, though, there have been others. Notably, this one here, which shows a diesel generator and claims that these chargers are popping up everywhere, and this is what essentially is powering the EV movement. Well, this is known as Deceptive Imagery Persuasion, or DIP, and is used by disinformation practitioners to guide targets, that's you and I, into a persuaded conclusion while making us believe that we came up with the idea ourselves. Shout out to Ryan Macbeth for that term. And the post here claims that this 350 kilowatt diesel generator in the picture uses 12 gallons of diesel fuel per hour, and it takes 3 hours to fully charge a car to get 200 miles. Now, if that were true, that would mean that we're getting 5.5 miles per gallon of diesel here to power this EV. And that would be embarrassing, as the post suggests, but it would almost be as embarrassing as being this bad at math. In reality, a 350 kilowatt charger will charge up an average EV in about 15 to 20 minutes for a 200-mile trip, so far less than the 3 hours that the post claims. And now, if it takes 12 gallons of diesel per hour and we're charging for 20 minutes or 1/3 of an hour, that means we would be using about 4 gallons of diesel, not the 36 that the post claims. So 4 gallons of diesel for 200 miles of range is about 50 miles per gallon, which beats almost any gas car out there in efficiency. Pretty good, honestly. And as the post suggests, yes, you can't fix stupid, and you can't help people this bad at math. But of course, as you may have guessed, this is all a lie. This post is complete fake news. The generator shown is actually the invention of a guy in Australia called a charge pod. It was invented by an Australian engineer named John Edwards, who proposed using it to charge up in extremely isolated areas like the deserts of Australia. Edwards said the charge pod would eventually be replaced by solar power, but unfortunately for him, this hasn't gone anywhere, and it appears they aren't popping up everywhere. In fact, this appears to be the only one that ever existed, which is located at his house. But if we know that these claims are complete bogus, is there any truth to EVs being charged up by diesel? Well, according to the U.S. Department of Transportation, most EV owners charge up at home, as much as 80% of the last data that I could find. Now, home charging availability isn't universal, and it does vary by country, but it is definitely the most common and easily one of the biggest benefits of owning an EV in the first place. So if you are in a place where you can't have a home charger, it does make it a little bit more difficult. And honestly, it's something that is going to be solved or is already being solved in a lot of places. You can check the comments of this video, I'm sure, or many of the other videos I've done of people sharing their stories of how it really wasn't a big deal or how they found other places to charge. But as it stands, the vast majority of EV charging happens at home. Now, realistically then, where does the power come from? Well, it comes from wherever your home gets its power from itself. Now, many states in the US and other countries have websites where you can go and actually see where your energy is coming from. It's kind of cool. Here's the one for California where I'm located. This is the California ISO website. The link to this and all the other sources here will be down just below the like button. So if I go here and I look at the supply currently, you'll see where the energy is actually coming from. We have our current demand of 30 gigawatts or 30,000 megawatts, 18 gigawatts are coming from renewables. Then we have some from hybrids, which would be like a different kind of source. Then we have solar and wind. So a lot of it is coming from renewables. You can see right here, 59%, in fact, as of this very moment of recording right now. This is a good example of how you can actually know. And if you're in the UK, they have similar websites, but also if in the UK, some very good news is that the UK just shut down their last coal power plant. That's pretty good. We just need to clap for that. That's amazing. Good job, guys. Now, the UK, of course, a much smaller geographic location than the rest of the world or the United States, so these things will take time, but I just wanted to take a moment there to recognize the tremendous efforts that are happening in the UK to actually make the grid cleaner. And the thing about that, of course, is that the cleaner your local energy source, such as not using coal, the cleaner your EV is end to end. And this is one of the huge benefits, if you think about it from a climate change perspective, is with your gas car, it's dirty from start to finish. There's no changing that. Here, with the energy coming from the grid, as the grid gets cleaner, it's a big sort of network effect that happens where the actual overall or lifetime emissions of an EV drop dramatically as the grid gets cleaner, and we have tons of evidence showing that that is exactly what's happening. So back to the question, are EVs actually being charged up by diesel? Well, everything I found says that diesel essentially is only being used as backup power for grid or when the grid is down, at least here in the United States. I couldn't find any examples where diesel is the primary source. I do recall that in Hawaii, this was the case many years ago before Tesla came in and put up a solar field and batteries. So it is something that I guess is possible, but not something that is common, or at least I'm not seeing any data that shows that it would be common anywhere in the world. And at the end of the day, clean energy is a big business. So if a company was using a dirty power source like diesel generators to charge up their EVs and lying to the public about it, I'm sure a competitor would find that out and actually make huge news of it. It wouldn't be something that your uncle would be posting on Facebook. But before we go, don't forget to check out my daily podcast, The Daily Charge Up, linked below or at thedailychargeup.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure to sign up and join the Discord group to become a FUD fighter. Help us fight this disinformation that's happening out there and really base our conversations in fact and use data for those discussions. Because remember, without data, you're just a person with an opinion. And we know that the internet doesn't need more of those. That's it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you back here next time.